Yo, let's keep working on our game, crank it up a notch, and give our enemies the ability to fight back, right? Because so far we can hit them, but they can't really hurt us. So we're going to do exactly the same thing we did to give the enemies health and the hurt thing to our character. So let's work on that. Well, first thing, we're going to. This is starting to get a little bit cluttered, right? So let's move a few pieces and. Oh, lordy. I forget which pieces do what. So that's the lift. This is the moving platform. Just put it there. And okay, this is fine. We have enough clearance to test things against that little guy. Let's just make the level a bit bigger this way. So we can jump down and go fight him. Right. So first things first, go to our events, and we're gonna give ourselves some health. The same way we did for the enemies. So where did we do that? Oh, it's right here. Change the health. So as always, we're gonna copy paste because we're lazy. And also, this is good practice. Just copy paste the stuff that you can copy paste. Don't just go like add condition, this condition, type it in, do the other stuff. No, that takes forever. I mean, and games already take a long time to make. So change the variable health of player. And to be equal, we're going to give ourselves the exact same health, 3. So we have 3 health to begin with. Also, let me adjust the microphone a little bit because it's making me hunch over. Right, so now we have health. And we need a new event. Let's copy, player controls. We're going to paste there, and we're going to call it player. Player. And then we're going to grab the player controls. We're going to put it underneath. And we're going to paste another group, right? Because now this is all about the player, the stuff in here. And we're going to call this one taking damage. Taking damage. Taking damage. Player controls goes first. And we're going to add an event. Obviously, it went to the wrong place. Why not? Right. Ah, dang it. It's having a hard time going where I wanted. There we go. Right. Taking damage. And we're going to do the same thing, which is if player player is in collision there we go, select collision with the object enemy. Press OK. Now if he's in collision with enemy, gonna change object number. This is important variable. Always make sure that it's a number, right? Because there's many kinds of variables. There's numbers, there's text, there's booleans, which has the true or false. Then you have arrays of these same ones. And so be specific that it's the number one. That's mostly the ones we're going to be using. It's always going to be numbers because they're the most flexible. You can do whatever you want with numbers, right? So always use numbers. That's usually what I use. I rarely use the other ones. But we're going to use a boolean in a second just to showcase it. But yeah, change the number variable of the object. So object variable, number, object player, and the variable is health. There we go. And we're not going to set, we're going to subtract. Remember? Because we got hit. So when we get hit, we subtract 1 health. And okay. And then we're going to add one more event. We're going to check for object, number, variable. And the object is going to be the player. There we go. Click that. The variable is going to be health. And if it's less or equal to, where is it? Less or equal to 0. Now just the same thing we did for the enemies. Remember? Press OK. If it's less or equal, these are the moving platforms. Let's close this. And let's close the enemies as well. We don't need that. If the health of player is less or equal to 0, we're gonna delete the player. You're gonna die, right? Delete player. Our ultra block is gonna die, so it needs to be deleted. Object player. And okay. So now, when we're in collision with the enemy, we're going to subtract 1 health. And once our health is 0, our player dies. And we delete him. Now, this is not going to work properly. And you'll see why. So, we're here, we're going to fight him, and boom, we instantly die. It's like, but we had 3 health. What happened? Right? It's that thing. If you don't be specific about how many times you want an event to trigger, for as long as the event is true, for as long as the condition is true, the action triggers. So for as long as we were in contact with enemy, we were subtracting 1 health every single frame. And GDevelop runs at 60 frames per second. So in 60 seconds, we went to minus 60 health. In 1 second, that's what I meant. In 1 second, we went to minus 60 because it was 60 frames, right? And we only have 3. Sorry. So how do we stop this? Well, do we use trigger once like we did before with the bullet? Because we only wanted to trigger once when we take damage. So let's try that. Trigger once. And spoiler alert, this is not going to work. I mean, this is going to work to a degree. Click preview. So now we get hit. 2, and then 3. But we got hit multiple times there. Right? We were in contact with the enemy for so long. So I can stay on top of the enemy and I'm not dying. Look at that. Oh. And what about? And now we died. So what's happening there? Well, it's the same thing. For as long as we're in collision, right? When the player is in collision with the enemy, trigger only once. So we collided with the enemy, but we never stopped colliding with the enemy. So it triggered once, and for as long as we're on top of the enemy, we're still colliding with it. So the event has already triggered. It's not going to trigger anymore. Right? So how do we go about, solving this issue? Well, first of all, we're going to give ourselves a hit animation so we can actually tell when our character is being hit. And then we're going to solve the issue. I'm going to leave you in suspense. Dun, dun, dun. So we're going to double click our character. And we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did for the enemy. We're going to call this one idle. And we're going to create down here, add a new animation. And add a sprite. Oh, no, we're not going to add a sprite. We're going to create with Piscal. That's what we want to do. And you can just make, it's the top one. You can just make this one 96 by 96 because we're just going to use colors. I'm not going to draw anything. Sorry. And let us do. Let's do some shades of blue. The blue. I got the and grab the paint bucket and paint that one. And my God, that is bright. And then we're gonna click here and add a new frame. Right? We didn't do it this way for the enemies because we duplicated the one we had, but this one we can just do it here on Piscal. We're gonna add one more, and we're gonna do the same thing with 3 frames. So we have that one, the bright one. Then we have this one. Then we're gonna add one more frame, and we're gonna make it even darker, like that. And we're gonna paint it. And it's gonna give this, ooh, watch out for epilepsy. And since it's the first time we're creating this, we don't need to do the save thing. Right. So no looping, and 0.8 is enough, right? It's the same thing we did for the enemies. So this is good. And we're going to call this animation hurt. There you go. So idle and hurt. I was going to say, man, I have the Shovel Knight theme song stuck in my head all day. Let's go to our events. And now we're going to do the same thing we did for the enemy again. When we collide with the enemy, we're going to change the animation. So animation by name of player. And we're going to set it to hurt. Press OK. And at the bottom, we're going to do the whole animation by name first. And we're going to check if the animation of player equals hurt. Okay. Add another condition. Now, animation finished. Animation finished of object player. And press OK. So now if the animation equals hurt and the animation has finished, we're going to change, let's copy paste this one. Change the animation back to idle. So exactly as the enemy part. Now let's try it. Oh, there you go. See, I got hit. And bang. So now we have that issue with the whole collision thing, right? So how do we solve the whole trigger once? Well, we use a state machine, but a very simple one where we give our enemies, when we give our player 2 states, a normal state and a damaged state, like a hurt state. So how do we do this whole thing, right? First things first, get rid of trigger once. Gone. Just like that. Gonna add a condition to the collision event. And it's gonna be object boolean. And boolean is Boolean. Boolean. And we're gonna click on boolean variable. What is a boolean, you ask? A boolean? So variables, if they say string, they mean text. It's a text variable. You put in names. If it says number, self-explanatory, it is a number and only a number. If it says boolean, it's a true or false. It's like a yes or no question. It has no numbers, no letters, no nothing. It's just either true or false. It has that 2 states, true or false. So object player. Variable, let's call this damaged, or hit. I've been hit, that kind of stuff. And if it's false, so here we check if it's true or false. And we're going to click false. Click OK. So if the Boolean value of the variable hit of object player equals false, is false. So if it's not been hit, well, let's change hit for damaged, right? It's more, I don't know. It sounds better. If it's not been, is damage true or false? If it's false, then we get hit. But the very first thing that happens once we get hit is we're going to add an action. And we're going to make it change Boolean, object Boolean. Change object Boolean. Boolean object player. What's the variable? Damaged. And what's the new value? True. So the moment it gets hit, this changes to true, and he can no longer get hit. Oh yeah. I thought I was looking at the wrong one. So, does this work? Yes, it does. Let's try it. So let's collide with the enemy. And bang, we got hit. But now, the Boolean is stuck at true. And it's never going back to false. So we can't get hit again, right? It's like, come on, hit me. Stop trying to hit me and hit me. So how do we change this? Well, if we just change it back to false right at the end, then we get hit really quick. And this whole thing is pointless. So we need to give ourselves some hit recovery time. Like we get hit and it's like, oh man, I got hit. I got to move, kind of thing. So to do that, we give ourselves a little wiggle room with time. So we're going to add an action. I'm going to say wait. Wait X seconds. And time to wait, let's say 0.5 seconds. So half a second. Or a whole second. Let's give ourselves a whole second. Like a wiggle room. We can change this later if it's too much. And then we're going to copy paste the Boolean. Put it at the end. This is not the Boolean. Wait, I copy pasted the wrong thing. Sorry. It's this one I need to put here. There you go. The Boolean goes first. Then we copy paste it. And then we put it at the end. And we change the true for false. Right. So if it's false, we can get hit. We collide with the enemy. Changes to true. We've been hit. So this changes to true. We get subtracted 1 health. We change to hurt. Then we wait a second. We have like a second of wiggle room. Then we run away. And then after a second, it changes back to false. So we can get hit again. And that's how you do hit recovery in games. So now, here he comes. He's going to hit me. Then we stay in contact. After a second, he hits me again. And then we died. If we change this to 0.5, it's going to be real quick. So it's going to be like hit, and then dead. Right. So we're going to collide, hit, dead. See? So this is how you do hit recovery in games. And 3 hits is probably a bit too much. So we can give ourselves a bit more health. Health of player. Let's make it 5. Press enter. And now we have 5 health. That's how easy it is to change it. So hit, and boom, dead. There is 5, right? Let me count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, bang, 5. That's how you do hit recovery. So the wait time is your hit recovery. That invincible period that you get after a hit, it's gonna be this one. This is what you adjust for the invincible time, the invincible frames. Right. Hope you enjoyed that one. Next episode, we're gonna keep building on this and doing some more cool stuff. I hope you're enjoying this so far. I'll catch you guys next episode. Peace out.